Hello everybody and welcome back and happy second lockdown. My god, yes, we're in another lockdown, which is it's not doing any good at all to my mental state, doing my head in now. Can't go anywhere, can't do anything, can't meet anyone. What a flaming nightmare. But we are allowed to go out for recreation, so as in exercise. So I'm just going to pop off down to the park and have a wander around, get some fresh air. And I thought today I would give you, because there's not much else I can do, I would tell you the 5 things that I absolutely love about this motorcycle. So yeah, only 5. There was so many. I'm not kidding, and I'm not making it up just because I own it. There was so many things that I like about this bike, but I thought what are the top 5 things that I do like. So let's get down to the park and let's have a look at the 5 things that I absolutely love about this beautiful 2016 GSX-R750. Okay. Thanks, mate. Man, there's lots of people here. Look at them all. Park is full. Unbelievable. Lockdown, and I think everyone's just getting so fed up now. They're even coming here to the park just to wander about, just to get out the bloody house. Cabin fever, man. It's for someone like me, it's the worst scenario. It's just awful being stuffed in the house, stuck in the house for work, can't go to work, stuck in the house because you can't go to the shops, stuck in the house because you can't meet friends. It is awful, but there are bigger things at play, and we must get rid of this virus, otherwise we'll never get out of lockdown, will we? Boom, Shanker. Well, one good thing is, because there's so many people here, I feel better leaving my bike where lots of people can keep an eye on it. Okay, let's lock her up and rock and roll. So would you believe it, I've had to take my coat off in the park. It is boiling. I think it's the coat that makes me boiling actually. It is quite chilly out here, but man, I am sweating hot. Ooh. There's people everywhere in the park. I haven't been able to find a nice quiet secluded spot to stop and chat. So I'm at the lake, but there's just people up and down constantly. So today I bought a packed lunch. So I got some hula hoops. I've got me a nice sandwich, beef sandwich, and of course the obligatory fruit shoot that I nicked out the kids' cupboard, don't tell them. Oh, and a Snickers. These used to be called Marathon. I thought they were going to rename them back to Marathon. Well, there you go. Well, what a beautiful day at the park. Oh, the park is gorgeous in all seasons. It's lovely in autumn, all the leaves on the ground, and you can start to see through the trees. Beautiful, beautiful. So here we go for my 5 favourite things about my GSX-R750. So number 1, and apologies for the noise, I've had to pull up on quite a busy main road because the park was ram-packed, but the Foxy's closed, so I thought I'd use their car park. I'm sure they won't mind. So the first thing that I absolutely adore about this bike, there are some things about this bike in particular that I adore, but super sports in general. So since I was a kid, I've always loved the pin sharp look of a super sport motorbike. And growing up, I managed to get up to a 600F, CBR 600F Honda, and it was an M-Reg. It's quite old now, but that was just a lovely bike, and it was the closest really that I got to a super sport. But I always wanted, so when I was a kid, I always wanted a GSX-R750. The 600 Super Sports were a little bit too small, a little bit too revvy. They used to annoy me a bit. I had a 600 for a while, and then I had the 600F. And I got to admit, the looks of the Honda 600RR are just absolutely spot on. But there was one bike I always wanted as a kid, and it was the GSX-R750, and it's took until now for me to actually get one. So the looks and the styling of the GSX-R750 in particular, to me, are just out of this world. I think it's the best looking bike, best looking super sport bike you can get, and that's my honest opinion. I think it absolutely is. So why I love this bike in particular, the looks of this bike in particular, there are a few things that have had to grow on me. I think when I was a kid, it used to have twin headlights, these bikes. So the single headlight there, the top and tail headlights, have had to grow on me a little bit, but it has grown on me. I didn't think it would, but it has, and I do like the front end of this bike. Another thing that had to grow on me was the Yoshi exhaust, the R11. I always preferred a G4 exhaust on here. I thought that was the only exhaust that should really be on a GSX-R750, especially a black one. But this one out the factory came with the R11 Yoshimura, and it's grown on me, really has. There are some special things about that exhaust which I'll get in a bit later on in the list. But for looks and styling, man, from the front to the back, there is not a single thing about this bike that I don't like the look of. So right from the gold and the black, that's all over this bike. And just to let you know, it took me 9 months to find a black GSX-R. 9 months. I could have had a baby in that time. So I almost gave up my search. I didn't want a blue and white one, it had to be black. And I managed to find a black and carbon factory GSX-R750. It's 2016 plate, and it's just the most beautiful bike I've ever seen. You know, let me know what you think of it, guys. I think it's the best looking bike out there at the minute. Unfortunately, you can't get these anymore in Europe because of the emissions laws, but I hope Suzuki do bring these back. So from the front then, let's get on with it. So we got the top tail light, which, yeah, it's grown on me, it's great. The wing mirrors don't look too bad, and like some people have said, it'd look good on a Volvo. I actually like them, they're really good, and they've got the integrated turn signals. The air intakes here with the fins, there's 4 of them. The openness of the front, but you know, moreover, the black and gold that's on this bike, just sublime. At the back there, I've put an R&G radiator guard on it. The front has got Brembos on. The wheels, black wheels, 3-spoke wheels, absolutely beautiful. Nothing on this bike is in the wrong place. There's nothing on here that's not needed. It's just the most wonderfully put together bike I've ever seen. So going around the side, then the fairings, look, we've got the dual black here. We've got the glass black at the bottom. Sorry, the gloss black at the bottom. The little Suzuki sign there. Nothing that stands out too much, but it is there, it's in grey. And then on here you've got the Suzuki symbol on the tank. And then the tank itself, you've got the plastics here, you've got the gloss black. I put these on, these knee grabbers. Don't like that at all, so when I find a better set of them, I'm going to pull them off. And then we've got some gloss here, and I put the new oil cap on there, the GSX-R oil cap, which unfortunately doesn't screw and finish the right way up. So it's been milled so it finishes facing upwards, which is really weird. Got your foot guards, your pegs, everything. And the exhaust, the way the exhaust comes up, absolutely gorgeous. Your rear foot pegs, bit of fake carbon here and on the top, which I don't mind at all. Your back seat. But look at it, I can't stop looking at this bike. Every time I go out in my shed, I'm like, wow, look at that. Got the fully adjustable shocks under there. Gold chain, gold black and red everywhere. It's just the most beautiful bike that I know of. Obviously that's subjective, but to me, this GSX-R750, and I think it's also down to the fact that it's because it's built on the, I think mainly on the 600 frame. I think the reason why it looks better to me than the 1000 cc's is because of its size. So you've got all the beautiful fairings and everything about it, because it's sort of crunched up into a little 600 frame. It is just outstandingly beautiful to me. So that's my number one pick. So that is, this list is in order. So the number one pick for me is the stunning looks of the GSX-R750. So if you've got one, kudos to you, because they are absolutely stunning. Okay, so on to the second reason why I love this bike over any other bike, and it's down to its size. Yes, weird one, but it's down to the size of it. So I'm 5'8" and a little bit. I used to be 5'8.5" when I had hair. So I'm 5'8" and a bit, and this bike allows me to flat foot both feet, and when I'm tucked up, so when my feet are up on the pegs, I don't feel crunched in and claustrophobic. The size of this bike is absolutely, for me, perfect. Now what I will say is that my friend is over 6 foot and he's had a go on this, and I've got to be honest, it looks like he's riding like a clown bike. It's just way too big for it, and he could get his legs up, but I would imagine after 15 minutes he'd be in total agony. So I mean, if you're 5'8", 5'8.5", or even smaller, you know, than I am, this bike in particular is perfect for you, guaranteed. So let me just demonstrate. So there you go, that's the number 2 reason why I love this bike. When I've got my foot on the foot pegs, my knees, they go into the tank here, so my knees are in the tank here absolutely perfectly. It's the perfect ergonomics for my size and shape. Okay, so on to number 3. So for my third pick then, yes, what another strange one, seeing as I didn't like this when I first had it. The third pick for me is the Yoshimura R11 exhaust. I think the looks of it set the bike off perfectly with its black chrome. You can see where this has gone like a goldy colour to match the gold on the bike, and it's got red on the sticker as well. Carbon on the back to match the bike as well. This exhaust, it just beggars belief. It is gorgeous. It looks the part. I especially like at the end here, so we've got the twin pipe at the end. And when the valve opens on this bike and hits them twins, my god, it sounds like an F1 car. It's absolutely beautiful. The sound of this exhaust is just gorgeous. I believe there are some baffles in the exhaust, and the only way you can take them out is to drill holes in it and things like that. I'm not going to do that. It'd be a real shame to do that. I just wish there was a way that I could take the baffles out of this exhaust, but as it stands now as a stock Yoshimura, it sounds beautiful. I'll give you a little demonstration right here. So I especially like the way, for the look of this exhaust, I especially like the way that it finishes. So it actually finishes dead straight and complements the back end of this bike perfectly. So if I back off a bit, you see it sort of finishes right on the back seat there, and it's dead straight up. So that's my third pick, is the Yoshimura R11 exhaust. I'm not going to put a different exhaust on this now. I love it. I absolutely love it. Right, on to number 4. So number 4 for me then is quite obviously power and stability. So the power of this bike, I'm not 100% sure what it makes. I'll have to dyno test it at some point. I think they're around 140, 150, something like that at the back wheel. I stand to be corrected on that because I just don't know. I'm only looking at the figures. I have heard that these bikes make 125, 120, 125 at the back wheel, but I don't know, so I stand to be corrected on that one. The power of this though over a 600 to me is just incredible. You wouldn't think it'd make that much difference, but I can tell you now that the mid-range, it's so noisy here, the mid-range on this bike is brilliant. It's absolutely superb. You can poodle about in 6th gear on this without any problems whatsoever. When you knock it down to 3rd, 2nd and pull it, the power delivery is so smooth. You can watch the needle, there's no stutters, splutters, no pauses. It just goes from 1 all the way up to 14,500 revs. Just it's spectacular. I absolutely love it, and because it's in the smaller 600 frame, obviously it feels it's a lot lighter and just feels beautiful when you're giving it some. Also when you're going around town and you're just in 4th, 5th, 6th, you know, on the little lanes or whatever, you're just pootling about, it's gorgeous, and the exhaust goes so quiet when you just at them low revs. It's perfect. For the handling of this bike, man, I'm not the best rider in the world, I freely admit that. This bike is pin sharp, absolutely pin sharp in the corners, going in, mid corner, exit. I cannot fault it. I'd love a proper rider, you know, a racing rider, to jump on this and give me a verdict on it, because in my mind, when I mean I've only learnt to ride this year after 20 years of not being on a bike, and this bike, the handling of it in the corners is just, it's superb, absolutely superb. You've got to try one. If you haven't tried a 750 Suzuki, get yourself out on one and just try one and let me know what you think. But the handling, I presume, is obviously down to the engineering of this bike, but mainly it's down to things like the suspension. So it's got the fully adjustable suspension here, which I have had tuned. I had this tuned when I first got it to my size and weight, but you can tune your own suspension there. The forks are just gorgeous. It's got Brembo brakes on the front, which the stopping power of those, there's no ABS on this bike, which in my eyes is a good thing. So you've got your twin Brembos on the front there, and then of course the shock at the back, which is adjustable too. I've had that adjusted, had the whole bike set up for me. The only downside, I presume it's for all bikes, is the back brake on this it's not very good at all. So you're more reliant on the front brake, which you are on you know, most of these bikes, but because I've got no ABS, the back does, you know, it skids when it feels like it. So no matter what you do, you touch that back brake and it goes, I'm gonna skid now. So you end up leaving black marks on the road. But yeah, once you're tucked in on this and you're going around the twisties, the handling is, my god, it's what really lights this bike up for me. It's just a beautiful thing to ride, and it handles gorgeously. So that's my number 4, is the handling and the stability of this bike. It's very stable. So I've got some Michelin Pilot 4s on this bike. I've had them on it since I bought it. I've done around 4,500 miles on them. Haven't had any problems whatsoever with these tyres. So these tyres are really elastic. You can see the tread depth in them there. No need for me to get any more yet. But them are the Michelins, and they're a bloody good tyre. I think the Michelin 5s are out now, or even the 6s maybe. I would suggest you get a pair if you just want to do, you know, road running like me. And there you go, that's my number 4. What could number 5 be? So what could number 5 be? Well, this for me had to go in the list, and again, probably another strange one. You probably didn't think I was going to include this, but for me, the range of this bike, so the range for me has definitely got to make it into the top 5 reasons why I bought this bike. So if you check back on a few videos back, I actually did a test on it where, man, I was out for about 11 hours on this bike. Yeah, 11 hours on a Super Sport at my age. Really comfy bike, there's no problems with that apart from the wrists. But the range of this bike, so I didn't know when I bought this bike what the range would be. And if you check out my videos, you'll see that I like to ride far away. I like to go up to the Ponderosa, and I've been over Snowdon and places like that. I love it's one of the main reasons why I love the bike, is because it can take me, you know, to places very quickly. You can avoid traffic, and you can just get to those little places all on your own, or if you've got a few buddies with you, where you wouldn't normally go in a car, you know, because it's a bit of a faff, isn't it, sitting in traffic and stuff. But the range of this bike, I didn't know it was going to be so good. So if you check back on a few of my videos, you'll see that I've actually got 160 mile out of this tank, and that is from full, so just up to the neck, to when the yellow light starts flashing, and I think you get another gallon when the yellow light comes on. So I measured it from 0 to 160 on one tank up to the yellow flashy light, and that 160 miles takes me to a lot of places, lots and lots of places. So for me, an easy choice, number 5, because I love to tour around on this thing, is the fact that I can do 160 miles on it without worrying about running out. It's just brilliant. I think my friend's Ninja, he's got a ZX-10R, and I think he said he gets around 80 or 90 miles out of it. Now, you know, let's be honest, he probably rides his bike properly. But for me, when I'm pootling around like this, to get 160 miles out of this bike is just fantastic. So that's my number 5 pick. It was actually quite difficult getting a top 5 because there's so many things about this bike that I do love. One which should have made it into the list, and I'll say it now, is the fact that this bike is pretty much analog. So I'm used to, from being a kid, I'm used to riding bikes with no ABS, no traction control, no wheelie control, nothing really. So one of the other reasons why I still wanted to get one of these bikes is because it's got none of that on it. It's totally analog, so it's all about the rider and the riding experience. The only time that the bike intervenes is also a manual function. So I'm currently in full race mode, so full power mode, which is mode A. So if I just press this little button, you can see there A pops up on the well, you might not be able to see it, but A pops up on the screen. That means you're in full mode, nothing restricted whatsoever. It's like a little restrictor really. If I pull the button again, I'll go into B mode. You can see B's now come up on the dashboard maybe. And I think what B mode does is it gets it down to around 65% power, more engine braking, smoother throttle delivery, you know, all the good stuff. And when I was learning to ride again back in January, so when I first jumped on this, the shop told me to put it in B mode until I was you know, happy. And to learn to ride on a GSX-R750 in B mode, in my opinion, is the best thing on the planet. And I'm not joking. So if you guys are new to riding and you're able to get your first big bike, man, get yourself a GSX-R750, slam it in B mode, and you will be well away. It's in B mode now, yeah? So if I put it in second, you still get, man, you still get a hell of a lot of power. All the mid-range is there. The only thing you're going to miss out on is the top end. So between 10 and 14,500, it'll give it you, but it won't give you 100% power and torque. But you do get really smooth right wrist, so your throttle is just great. There's no snatchiness whatsoever, smooth as you like. Putting it in A mode, you know, if I was to do that in A mode, the front wheel would definitely want to come up and play with my face. So I'm not going to do that. But A mode gives you tighter throttle response, definitely. It's still not snatchy, there's no snatchiness to that throttle, but it gives you 100% all the time. So yeah, if I had to have a top 6, I think the fact that this bike is pretty much analog would be there in that list as well. I love the bike for that. One thing I did forget to mention with regards to one of my top 5, which was power and stability, was the fact that this has got a steering dampener on it from the factory, which is brilliant. I'm not kidding, it is brilliant. It stops all the, you know, the tank slappy stuff and the wobbly front end when you're at speed. It absolutely does its job brilliantly. So yeah, for the stability part, there's also a steering dampener on here, which really does help. Well, there you have it, guys. That's my top 5 things I like about this bike, or should I say top 5 things I adore about this bike. But I hope you like this video, and please stay safe, keep away from people, you know, all the usual stuff, because it's bloody virus. Let's get rid of it, eh? And ride safe if you're out there, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next vid. Okay guys, bye.